A long time ago, a group of deadly mercenaries were abducted from Earth and hibernated in space for 100 years. Then, one day, they were dropped from a spaceship and finally let free. The movie opens up with an armed officer, Royce, falling from the spaceship. During his freefall, he gains consciousness and somehow manages to open his parachute. After landing in a forest, he starts inspecting the place to check if anyone else is present. Just then, a Mexican drug cartel enforcer, Cuchillo, also lands there in the same manner. As soon as he lands, Cuchillo points his gun at Royce and threatens to shoot him. Both of them are confused on how they got there, and things get heated between them. While the two are arguing, another human falls from the sky, but without his parachute. As a result, he dies on the spot. Royce and Cuchillo are taken aback by the incident, but suddenly, someone opens fire at them. They somehow scramble to safety and devise a plan to round up the attacker. Fortunately, the plan works, and Royce is able to hold off the man at gunpoint. Once interrogated, he finds out that the man is a Spetsnaz soldier named Nikolai, who was also brought to the forest in the same manner. The three then decide to put their differences aside and work together to find a way to escape the forest. After walking for some time, the three men come across a dangerous-looking lady pointing a sniper at them. She is Isabel, an IDF sniper. At first, she threatens to shoot the men one by one, but when Royce assures her that they are all on the same page, she lowers her weapon. Shortly after, Isabel reveals that she has ventured through a lot of forests in her lifetime, but has never come across this one. She also mentions that she noticed some other people in the sky with parachutes. Hearing this, the group becomes hopeful of finding an escape route and heads in the said direction. On their way, they notice two men fighting mercilessly. They are Mombasa, an RUF officer from Sierra Leone, and Stans, a death row inmate from the States. However, as soon as they see Royce and the group, they stop. After a while, the group of six start walking through the forest and hear some screams. Surprisingly, a normal-looking guy is hanging upside down from the branch of a tree. This indicates that he doesn't have any experience in combat. Royce, being the alpha of the group, which is saying a lot since he's hanging out with Blade and Machete, shoots the branch down and rescues the man. Following this, the man introduces himself as Dr. Edwin, a famous physician from California. He also tells them that the last thing he remembers is leaving his house for work. None of them are aware of their location or how they got there. Soon, Royce takes command of the group, but offers little information about himself. Because of this, Isabel suspects that he is a mercenary and a former member of the Black Ops military. After a while, as the group continues walking, Royce theorizes that they have been transported to the forest for a specific reason, since they are all assassins, except for Edwin. In the next scene, the group discovers empty cages and a plant that contains neurotoxin. Nikolai is fascinated by the plant, but as he is about to touch it, Dr. Edwin stops him and explains about how the plant can paralyze someone within seconds. He then removes a part of the plant with a tiny scalpel for further study. Together, they continue their journey and add another person to their group, a Yakuza member, Hanzo, who prefers to remain silent. Later that day, Isabel calls Royce and shows him that the magnetic compass is not working here. In turn, Royce also reveals that since the moment they arrived, the sun hasn't changed its position in the sky. This indicates that the forest is unlike any ordinary one. After a while, as the group continues searching through the forest, Mombasa accidentally steps on a trap. To their bad luck, it is not just one trap, but a series of deadly traps. Numerous logs, sharp objects, and even spikes are launched to the ground in a matter of seconds. As everyone scrambles to safety, Isabel slips and nearly falls into a pit containing pointed sticks. Luckily, Royce comes to her rescue and pulls her out. Once the danger is averted, the group gathers around and discusses their next strategy, calculating the size and weight of the traps. Royce concludes that it was not for humans, but for something much bigger and more dangerous. Nearby, they also find the rotting corpse of a U.S. Special Forces officer. When Nikolai goes through his pocket, he finds a document which states that the soldier was supposed to be deployed in Afghanistan. Then, Royce examines the corpse and presumes that the giant creature for which the traps were set might have killed the soldier. During their discussion, someone or something can be seen keeping an eye on them through thermal vision. Shortly after, the group continues moving forward and finally reaches the end of the hill. To their horror, they realize they are not on Earth because the sky there seems different. Now, everything that was thought to be strange starts making sense. Looking at the alien sky, Royce tells everyone that they need to come up with a solid plan to return home. However, just as the group enters the forest again, they are attacked by a pack of alien dogs. These dogs are extremely large in size and move with tremendous speed. Everyone takes out their guns and starts shooting at the dogs. Together, they manage to kill most of them, but one survives and starts marching towards Isabel. She tries to shoot it with her sniper, but unfortunately, it jams. weapons. She then reaches for her revolver instead and fires at the dog multiple times, but to no avail. Now, with death imminent, Isabel decides to commit the unthinkable. But suddenly, a bell rings, and the alien dog returns back. Soon, the whole group gathers at a place, and Royce tells everyone that they are being hunted. He also asks the group members to reload their weapons, because the attacks are unpredictable, and because not reloading is stupid. At the same time, Mombasa realizes that Cuchillo is missing. Worried, they start looking for him, and eventually find him wounded and asking for help. For some reason, he doesn't face the group, and keeps on saying, "Help me," in a weird manner. Isabel, being the most sympathetic person in the group, decides to help him, but Royce stops her, claiming that it's a trap. He then throws a stone near Cuchillo to prove his point. Lo and behold, the rock activates a trap, and as a result, the group decides to leave Cuchillo, as he is already doomed. Before leaving, Isabel puts him out of his misery with her sniper rifle, but strangely, even after he's dead, his voice crying for help can be heard. Now, the group led by Royce follows the alien dog's footprints and reaches a hunting camp. There, they notice a strange creature that has been tied up. As the group continues inspecting the place, 4 larger creatures arrive there and brutally gore Mombasa to death. Luckily, the remainder of the gang manages to flee and jump into a river. Here, we're introduced to the predators, the real kings of the jungle. Altogether, there are 4 predators: the classic, the tracker, the falconer, and the berserker. They are large in size and use advanced technology to locate their prey and keep themselves hidden. Meanwhile, the group reaches a shore, and Isabel yells at Royce for using Mombasa as bait, just to catch a glimpse of the predators. Royce defends himself by saying that he just wanted to see and collect more information about the creatures that they're fighting against. He then asks Isabel to tell everyone what she knows about the aliens. Initially, Isabel is hesitant, but when the group stares at her in anger, she finally reveals that she has heard of these creatures before. Long ago, in the forests of Guatemala, a team of special forces were sent out for a regular drill, but only one came out alive. From his report, everyone got to know about Bigfoot. I mean, about a deadly alien creature that could hide itself and shoot lasers from its eyes. After the revelation, Royce riles up the group and asks them to assist him in finishing off the predators. In the next scene, the group carries out their plan and makes Edwin run into the forest as bait. As expected, one of the predators, the classic, catches wind of this and starts following Edwin. It appears as if the classic is the dumbest out of all 4 predators, as it fails to notice the group waiting to shoot from a distance. The plan works, and just as the classic is about to lunge towards Edwin, Isabel takes a clean shot and kills the predator. However, when the group approaches the corpse, they realize that Isabel had actually missed her shot. Suddenly, a human wearing an advanced alien suit appears in front of them and introduces himself as Noland. He reveals that he has been evading the predators and successfully living in the forest for years. Following the introductions, Noland takes the group to his place, which seems to be a dilapidated spaceship of some sort. Inside, he tells everyone that the predators are of 2 types, small and large. Scientific. He also mentions that the predators gather warriors and deadly animals from other worlds and bring them to this planet. Their main objective is to hunt and improve their killing abilities, just like video games. That's not why I play video games, Noland. Additionally, Noland claims that the 2 sets of predators have been at war for centuries. Hearing this, Royce comes up with a plan. He wants to liberate the smaller predator from the camp, team up with it, and gain access to its spaceship so that he can return back to Earth. At night, while the entire group is resting, Nolan secretly locks the door from outside and starts suffocating them with smoke. It turns out that he is a scavenger, and his only intention was to lure the group and steal their weapons. Inside, the group tries their best to open the door, but it's locked tightly. Now, with time running out, Royce makes a risky decision and fires an explosive at the door. His plan was to attract the predators, and it works. In no time, the predators invade the hideout. The tracker comes across Noland and immediately rips him to pieces. Then it marches towards the remaining group and even breaks the door. But surprisingly, instead of killing them straight away, the tracker lets them flee, as if it's toying with them. During the chase, everyone else but Nikolai manages to escape. The tracker catches him and stabs him brutally. But before dying, Nikolai detonates a bomb and blows both of them to smithereens. Meanwhile, the rest of the group reaches outside and hears the explosion. This gives them some momentary relief, but suddenly, the berserker arrives there. Realizing that their death is imminent, this time, Stans makes the ultimate sacrifice and holds the predator until his friends can run away. Sadly, his heroism turns into despair as the berserker rips out his spine and kills him instantly. With Stan's death, only 4 members in the group are remaining. After they reach a field, the Yakuza, Hanzo, who has been quiet for the entire journey, senses something and instructs the rest of the group to leave. Suddenly, the falconer approaches him slowly. Hanzo had taken a samurai sword from Nolan's base, so he decides to use this stereotype for his final dance. Surprisingly, despite having advanced lasers and other weaponry, the falconer respects Hanzo's courage and decides to fight in fair combat. Soon, the battle begins, and both warriors go hammer and tongs at each other. It ultimately ends when Hanzo slices off the falconer. However, seconds later, he also succumbs to his injuries. Elsewhere, as the remaining 3 are heading towards the camp, Edwin gets injured by a trap. He tries to get up, but fails. Realizing that he has become a liability, Royce suggests Isabel leave him there, but the latter refuses. As a result, Royce leaves the 2 of them and continues the journey on his own. Sadly, when Isabel is helping the injured Edwin, they get caught in a net trap. Meanwhile, Royce reaches the hunting camp and confronts the small predator that is being held captive there. He talks to the predator in human language and makes a deal which will benefit them both. Royce will release the predator, and in turn, it will help him escape the planet. Surprisingly, the predator obliges, and as soon as it is released, it activates a nearby spaceship for Royce. Suddenly, the large final predator, which also happens to be the most powerful one, the Berserker, arrives there. The 2 species of predators then start fighting, and as expected, the Berserker kills the smaller one. After the victory, the Berserker also blows up the spaceship that was about to leave for Earth, seemingly killing Royce. Meanwhile, Edwin and Isabel manage to escape the net and reach a bit further. Surprisingly, Edwin takes out the poisonous scalpel from before and makes a cut on Isabel's throat. Then he starts revealing everything. He is not a normal person after all. In fact, he is the worst out of the 8 selected people. Back on Earth, he murdered several people and was deemed a psycho. Edwin further mentions that now he has started liking this world and wants to live here permanently. Isabel hears all of this. She starts getting paralyzed by the neurotoxin. Just then, Royce shows up and approaches the duo. It turns out that he missed the spaceship. He immediately carries Isabel away, believing that the predator attacked her. Shortly after, as he is tending to her wounds, Edwin attempts to attack him from behind, but Royce counters and stabs the lunatic with his own scalpel. Then he installs some explosives inside a paralyzed Edwin and uses him as bait to lure the remaining predator. As soon as the Berserker attacks Edwin, a huge explosion occurs, but it is still insufficient to eliminate it. Luckily, Royce is prepared for this situation. He knows that the predators locate their prey with thermal vision, so he covers his body with mud and also lights fire everywhere. The plan seems to work at first, and the Berserker gets confused, but soon it tracks Royce's heartbeat and attacks him. In the meantime, Isabel starts regaining consciousness and uses every ounce of her strength to get to her sniper. Just when the Berserker is about to kill Royce, she shoots it in the shoulder. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Royce gets up and uses a makeshift axe to decapitate the Berserker and end the madness once and for all. The movie ends as Isabel and Royce wonder how they can return back to the Earth. Spoilers ahead, they can't.